Keep in mind, I first met those guys and it first came up that I might be working with them before their first album hit. And it took a period of time. MTV blew it up. I can't remember the VJ's name, but there was a certain VJ there.
By the time it blew up, though, did you think, oh, I'm never going to get this record now?
I absolutely thought that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they decided to go with you anyways.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, part of it was they were geniuses. Super smart guys. No. How can they not go with me? I think anybody has success, you got to work hard and have some luck.
Yeah.
I worked hard and had some luck. That's kind of what happened there. I worked at it and I got lucky because any number of things could have happened. I know at that point when they started really blowing up and they really started really having, well, in the middle there, meanwhile, they asked me to remix a song for a video. Jeremy.
Well, right.
And I remember talking to, first of all, I spoke to Eddie on the phone, I think. Spoke to a couple of people on the phone and that was it. And they used that and liked it. And I think the A&R guy wanted me to do it. Michael Goldstone, he wanted me to do it. And I think, again, they've been recommended to me initially by the Chili Peppers guys.
Yeah, which is always the best recommendation, right?
100%. By the way, the best A&R people are other musicians. If you want to find out who is really the next thing or whatever's going on, find out from other musicians.
Right.
Good A&R people, that's how they find a lot of people. And it's different now. You have Instagram and, TikTok, and it's a different game now.
Yeah.
But they'd heard some mixes from the Black Crowes' second album, where I was either working on it then, but Stone and Jeff liked that a lot, loved it, thought it was great. I don't know if it was already out or I was just working on it. They'd heard it somehow. So I remember I was working on something in LA. It might have been this or it might have been something else. I was working in LA and I got a call from Kelly Curtis, who was their manager. Kelly's a good friend, and he kind of wanted me to do it. He just liked me, And he goes, I think these guys are going to decide pretty soon what to do. So might be good to meet with them one more time. I said, you got it. I'm down. Where are they going to be? They're going to be in Nuremberg in about 4 days. Can you be there? I go, what? like Germany, Nuremberg? And they said, yeah, but this is it. I mean, he was like, if you can't make it, I understand. I was in the middle of making a record.
Right.
I was in the middle of something.
Oh my God. What do you do?
The proper answer is yes, I'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you said your wife, I'm going to Nuremberg to meet with this band.
No, she knew all about it.
Yeah, Pearl Jam was huge.
Let me tell you something. My wife understood all of this stuff probably better than I did.
Okay.
She understood the whole process of what needs to happen. We moved to LA because I was going to work with Rick, and her thing was like, it's an adventure, let's go. This is where it's going to happen. So...
you married the right person.
She was down for... we treated all of that part of it sort of an adventure at that point, like this is what we're doing. And, and plus I probably wasn't going to be home any less than I was being at the studio for during a process like that. So I left LA, got on a plane, went to New York. No, I went to Atlanta, flew from Atlanta. I stayed here and went to a Braves game.
Okay.
Flew to Nuremberg, showed up.
Right.
And I think a couple of the guys knew I was coming.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you.
But I didn't know Eddie at all at that point. And the first few records I worked with him, Eddie was hard on me. He was not easy to get next to, and I understood that. But still, I remember Stone saying, "Man, you must really want this gig." He just started laughing at me. I go, "I do." He goes, "Well, okay, you're here." I mean, he was like, he was both amazed and laughing at me at the same time. Like, dude, you are just this. And sometimes And I'll tell people this to this day, and over the years, I've done that. I've just gone, maybe not to Europe, but if I want to work with somebody and I really want to do it, I'll go to them.
Yeah.
I'll go to a show and just show up. And sometimes you just got to show up, and then you're there. How are they going to say no at that point? So I was there for a full day, saw the show, flew back either that night or the next morning. I was only gone for about 35 hours. LA to Nuremberg or whatever, and connect to Frankfurt.
Insane.
But I really wanted the job.
Yeah, of
course. I knew it was an important job, and I knew that if I didn't go, I was leaving it in the hands of fate. And I didn't want that. So I figured I really felt like if I go all the way over there, they're going to have a hard time, not at least let me start, you know.
Right.
And that worked out. So
Now, there must have been a lot of pressure. The first record was massively big, one of the biggest records of that
yeah.
you know, generation. Did you feel the pressure?
I think I felt something, not like them, probably not in the same way. Honestly, I love that kind of stuff. I love it. I love it. I want deadlines. I want expectations. I feel like we're at our best when there are those who maybe don't work at their best, but I think in general, if someone tells me I need this by this point, and here's what we need to have happen, I feel like, you know, that's when we're at our best.
I remember when the record came out, it came out at midnight on a Monday night or Tuesday. And I think that was the first time that they did something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the biggest selling first week on about 1 million records that first week. That was set the record. I mean, that was a huge thing.
It was.
To have a platinum record in the first week,
Yeah.
you got to be pretty psyched.
Well, it was a moment. Plus, but the other thing, I lived here in Atlanta. By that point, I moved back to Atlanta.
Okay.
Because I moved back here in July and it came out in October. I remember these dates very well.
Yeah.
And I was working on a record with somebody else, and I just couldn't really get into it. That, like, hey, guess what? My record sold more records than any record in history. So, are you going to play that bass part again, or what do you want? You know, it just wasn't going to be that kind of thing.
Right.
But I felt it, and you know, living here in Atlanta, I was completely out of the scene. So whatever the scene was, I didn't ever experience much of that.
Where did you do that record?
We did that record at a place called The Site, which was in Marin County, near San Rafael. Part of that was they lived in Seattle. They didn't want to work there. I lived in LA. They didn't want to work there. So they committed to working with me. They decided, let's work somewhere in between.
Okay.
Great. So let's go to San Francisco. We looked at a bunch of places in San Francisco. Didn't really like any of them, or they weren't quite right or whatever. I don't remember what happened. Quite frankly, they were all fine with me, but this was up to them. They wanted it. So there was a residential studio, The Site. And they picked that. It was fine with me. So I rent, you know, you could all live there. It was a really nice place. And I rented a house not there.
Okay.
I knew enough. By that point, I'm 30 or 31, maybe 31. I knew not to live with the you know, you needed some separation. I needed to get in a car and drive. It was only 3 blocks away, but I needed to drive there and back. Everybody liked it there quite a bit, except Eddie. Eddie hated it. Okay. Hated it. And I'm not telling tales here. He said that himself. So that part was difficult, but he did it. You know,
Did you rehearse and have the songs down?
Somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere. We'd gone to rehearsals and we'd done rehearsals up in. They had a place in Seattle, a little basement practice place. They'd have, you know. So this was not a rock star rehearsal place. This was a basement of an office built of a metalworking shop with a very evil, mean dog that wanted to kill me. You know, I'm not making this up, people. That dog wanted to kill me. You know, we spent some time there, but with some of the songs just came together in the studio, and we arranged some of them there. And some of us, and I would say probably 2 of the 3 of the ones they wrote while they were there.